You know how I said that I wasn't actually going to do a video on X's birthday for X's birthday? Too bad, Xenobites time. This will have some spoilers. I don't know why I thought of this. This is 100% a for fun thing, but I imagine that just the way mimeosomes work, you don't press a button on your own robot body to activate the overdrive. You have to probably do something. It might be a mental command, it might be a verbal command, but I'm imagining that people can log their own commands they do to access overdrive. It might be a combination of a phrase or some posing or something. So just for fun, I want to think of my idea as to what all the different party members' command inputs would be to activate the overdrive. No idea why I thought of this, but yeah. First off is Cross, who, for pretty obvious reasons, I don't have an actual answer for. And that's because they are completely customizable. Nothing in the game will allow me to tell what your character is. They could be you, they could be your OC, they could be a character from some other kind of media. They could even be you remaking another party member in the game so you could have two of them if you really want to do that, I guess. So, because you create the character, you could decide what that would be, and there are even a bunch of emotes you could use in the multiplayer missions if you want to get ideas. Elma's actually more ambiguous than you'd think, because we know nothing about the culture of her home planet, so realistically her command could be a phrase or a pose or some sort of motion from her culture that we pitiful Earth humans wouldn't understand, but ignoring stuff like that, which might realistically be her activation thing, I could think of running her hand through her hair like she does sometimes, brandishing her swords in a specific way, like doing that thing where you cross them and then you move the other ones so you make them ring on each other, or just some sort of let's get dangerous type phrase, because her art names are really sadistic sounding, so she might have a more sadistic streak or a more violent streak in her than you think. So it could be releasing her inhibitions and letting some of that run through. Lin, I'm pretty sure no one would disagree with me if I said Lin's would definitely be dabbing. Like, my favorite interpretation of her character is the spiciest meme lord of 2054, but using 2019 memes. So she would definitely be ironic enough to make that her power-up activation. There's no way to argue with me on this. I'm 100% correct. Irina is honestly the most boring, not as a character, but just, she would definitely just salute. I can't really see her doing anything else other than that. So yeah. Gwyn, he's also the same sort of soldiery type, so he could salute too, but he's a farm boy, which means he probably just, like, puts his head back and screams yeehaw. Like, that one Donald crit quote from Awakening is what I'm thinking. Yeehaw! And I love it. Lao, we're given enough of his depth where we could probably think of a few for him. My go-to picks would be saying his wife and daughter's names in a specific intonation or followed by a specific phrase so it doesn't go off just when he's talking about them in normal conversation. Or because he sort of has a death wish and it seems like all blades have a small pistol in addition to their normal ranged weapon, going full Persona 3 and pointing the gun at his head and probably saying something there too. Doug, he could also salute. He's probably one of the ones that I could see doing a typical anime power-up pose and scream thing. I was also thinking maybe just like banging on his chest. He's got the armor, his default armor has one of those orb things, so it could be hitting that or just like, haha, yeah, I'm a strong man, watch me be even stronger type thing. L shouldn't even have overdrive, so I don't know why we're talking about him here, but his would probably just be some sort of dance or something. He seems in tune with the culture of the rest of his species, even if none of them are alive, so it would probably be something significant to that. Going into the optional characters in alphabetical order now, Alexa is weird because she really likes Skells. So I'd guess that she wouldn't fight on foot if she could help it. And I'm guessing that Skell overdrive is actually just as simple as pressing a button because you're literally piloting a mech. So hers would probably be something Skell related, as in saying something like, you don't even deserve the privilege of getting destroyed by one of my babies, or I don't need a Skell to handle you, or just like mimicking the motion of a Skell or something, because that's definitely something she'd do. Boze is next, everyone's favorite character I know, and honestly he could actually have a huge amount of different things. Because of his obsession with Eastern culture, that means that there is a continent and then some worth of cultural things, different poses, religions, and languages that he could say something in order to use his stuff. I honestly got a Buddhism vibe off of him more than anything else, so that's what I usually imagine him doing. But honestly, you could come up with a bunch of different stuff for him. The other option is, of course, to go on his racism, in which he would say something horrible, but like, I feel like if he was actually extremely racist, he would say that enough in normal conversation where he wouldn't want to make it his activation phrase for his powers. So I don't really know about that. Does Boze say racial slurs is one of those video topics that I'm never actually going to touch with any length foot pole or my hands or any other sort of appendage or tool. So we're going to move on to Celica, who also shouldn't use Overdrive, but we're going to talk about her anyway because she's cute. Hers is probably just something rock related, like, I'm doing this for you, Rock. Or, oh, that's weird. There are 2 characters named Rock in the English version of the Xenoblade series. I mean, there are 2 Toras as well, so it's not hugely weird, but I only just realized that. Anyway, it would probably be something like that, or just something, again, related to her home culture that we know nothing about. Fry is one of the easy ones. He probably just downs a bottle of beer in one gulp, tosses it to the side, and says something about being the killer ostrich, because he's Fry, he do shit like that. HB, also very easy. He just does the anime push the glasses up and probably this is what a true superior blade does, that kind of thing. Hope, a few different things. We know she was raised in a church, so she might like say a small prayer or make the sign of the cross, something like that, or just say something that a priest character would in another game, kind of thing. She doesn't really go for that trope where the saintly young woman is actually the most sadistic one of all, but I also think it would be kind of funny if the only time she acts anything other than a pacifist who's reluctantly picking up weapons is when activating Overdrive, and she'd say things like, "Repent, sinner! Thy kingdom cometh! Prepare for a baptism by fire!" And probably also Deus Vult, because, you know, why not? We're throwing every obvious joke in the book here. Mia just wants to be an adventurer. She probably just needs to strike a heroic pose and go like, haha! Yeah. Murderess, you could probably have a lot of fun with, but I'm pretty sure her go-to method would just be flipping you off. I'm thinking of that scene from Devil May Cry 5, you know the one. She would definitely do exactly that. Nagi! Good old Kentaro fucking Nagi. I mean, his is the really obvious one. He just brandishes his sword at you because when he does it, it's a lot more intimidating than if I were to do it. So if that's also going to make flashy lights come off of him and then allow him to blossom dance you at 3 times the speed and 3 times the power, he's going to do it. Phog, I don't really know. Phog is the Finch of X, not in the best character sense, but in the absent-minded sense. So his might just be like slapping himself in the face like, hey, wake up and focus on the fight, you dingus. And his overdrive is actually what happens when he pays attention. Yeah, that's all I got. And then Yelv. His is probably just screaming the word pard as loud as he possibly can. He might also yeehaw, now that I think about it. Just Yelv and Gwyn having a yodeling contest is something I definitely want to see. I'm gonna go to bed and imagine that in my dreams now. Good night.